All right, for this video, I'm gonna talk about our painting technique of flicking, okay? Now, in your definition, you'll see it's in which you flick or spray kind of paint off your brush to create a splatter effect, okay? One thing one little tip is usually you do your practice on this big sheet of paper. If you flick or spray a bunch of different samples, it's hard to keep them kind of contained to one portion of your paper, because flicking might be the messiest or the second messiest technique that we go over. And so a couple things to help you when you're trying to create your samples. It might be a good idea, and you can see I like to take these smaller kind of practice sheets of paper and cut them into fourths. And then I have kind of smaller pieces of paper that I can do one sample on, like you can see here. I've cut a bunch of different of these pieces of paper, and I've done a bunch of different flicking examples on here, but I keep them more contained rather than kind of all on one sheet. One thing again before I show flicking is, because flicking can be kind of messy, I like to grab some newspaper, lay it out on my painting surface so that I know I'm not gonna get that kind of messy. Okay. Now, flicking or spraying, you've probably done it before. One thing that I want to emphasize is that the acrylic paint that we have right now is just a little bit thick when it comes to actually spraying or flicking this paint off. So just like we did when we did washing, we're probably going to have to either dilute that paint a little bit in your palette and then use that to spray or flick, or come with a kind of a wet brush already and then start this kind of flicking or spraying method. Okay? Now, kind of the easiest, or maybe the thing that I enjoy and like to do the best, is kind of hold my finger here and start to actually tap it down on there, and you can see I get these nice kind of larger and smaller kind of perfectly round shapes. Okay, that might be one technique. I might go to my next one, and I might try to come and another kind of popular one is almost bristling and taking that finger and kind of brushing it across here. And you can see I get more kind of angled spots there, which is awesome. Now with flicking, I want you to think about, okay, the height, maybe does that make a difference about what these things are gonna look like? How wet are the actual palettes and the paint in here, right? I might take a lot and maybe shake down, and maybe I'll add just a little bit more water. And you can see I get totally different kind of looking flick kind of pattern than maybe I do with these ones here. Okay, maybe I'll grab my last one. Maybe I'm going to kind of flick it on here and really try to emphasize almost flicking my wrist here to get really small kind of pattern droplets here. Okay? Layering these, you can see on this one I painted something and then put splatter over it. This one I kind of really went at an angle. So getting kind of these different looking, there's a lot of different patterns that you can make as you're flicking, depending on kind of the pressure, the height, and how wet your paint actually is.